Welcome everybody. This is the Microsoft 365 platform call on the September 14th, 2021. So this is the new weekly call where we're prioritizing the demos and topics coming from Microsoft towards the community. So then we also have some other calls available in a monthly basis, and then we have the Thursday calls, which are primarily for the community demos as well. So we really want to also help all of the community members who are willing to do demos to have an opportunity to demonstrate their learnings and samples and solutions and stories within this course as well. But on this Tuesday call, we're kind of prioritizing the Microsoft presenters in this one. Now, today we'll have three really cool demos coming up. So, and basic structure of this course, we'll have always kind of an updates and news and latest up from the Microsoft side related on Microsoft 365 platform in the first 10 to 15 minutes. We'll try to do a picture with the together mode. It's been pretty flaky recently, and there has been some issues on that one. Let's see if it works today. I think it's getting to the better direction, but we'll see. And it would be nice to have one of those calls, one of those pictures again. And then we have three demos. I'm not going to do the demo today, which I was planning to do. Thank you, Yi, actually taking care of that. Yi is the PM lead for the modern SharePoint Store. So it's good that she's staying up late today in China. It is past 11 p.m. already there to take care of the demo and slides on that. And then we move to Roina after that, related on Microsoft Graph JavaScript SDK updates. And then we have Kathy doing the last one as the latest on SharePoint Site Scripts, latest and roadmap on there. And I can see Kathy on the call, and I need to still, hopefully Roina doesn't have connectivity issues. There has been some issues on her side related on that. We'll get moving and figure it out during the call as well. Now, few updates or recap on the general assets which we have available for getting started on the Microsoft 365 platform. We have the Microsoft 365 developer video channel, which is the official videos coming from Microsoft, primarily from product group, and then including the cloud advocates. They're doing absolutely brilliant videos on helping you to get started on the Microsoft 365 platform. Now, we also have the Microsoft 365 community video channels where we have all of the community call recordings, demos, all of that stuff available. They're not necessarily as official, so to say, so they're not necessarily coming from Microsoft because it's community demos as well, but it's our channel to promote the best of the community as well, because for us, the community is really the key and the fuel of making this platform successful. We have a lot of open source assets available in the multiple different GitHub repository organizations, so you can check them out. We have a lot of sample galleries available, and it's pretty confusing that we have so many of them. So we do have actually unified sample gallery in Works. It's still in preview. We're missing certain capabilities there, and we'll talk about that one in the call as well. And if you're wondering that there's so many URLs, I can't remember all of this. Luckily, there's only one of them which you need to remember, which is AKMS M365 PMP. And from there, you'll find links to the YouTube channels and GitHub organizations and samples and all of that stuff. So trying to make your life as easy as possible. And by the way, if there's anything else which you would like to see us promoting in any of this stuff, or we're missing something, oh, Microsoft, why don't you get it? You should be doing X and Y and Z. Please let us know. We're here for you and not other way around. So we're trying to make this life as easy as possible for you. Now, a few reminders. We do have a really cool Microsoft 365 developer program available. You can get an E5 developer tenant for free. And as long as you use that tenant for development usage, there are instrumentation behind the scenes, which is detecting that you're actually using that for development usage, and then it will get renewed automatically. So that's basically because we cannot provide people a free E5 tenant with 25 accounts for free unless it's for a certain purpose. And the program is really easy to sign up with. It only requires an email address, and you'll basically get the free tenant, and you can start from there. And there's a lot of news and other assets available from this program. So please check it out if you're not part of that. By the way, if you have an existing old M365 E3 tenant, which was the old way of doing things, we do not have an upgrade story for that one, so I do apologize on that. So what you need to do is register the new tenant to order the program with the new email address, and that typically solves the situation. Now, some other assets which we want to promote for us as a Microsoft, the Microsoft Learning platform is super, super critical. So we're investing heavily on not only on documentation, not only on YouTube videos, but also on the Microsoft Learning platform to provide you a guided learning paths to get started on building on the Microsoft 365 platform. So we do have different learning paths for Microsoft Graph, Microsoft Teams, SharePoint development, identity, and then the extended Microsoft 365 fundamental, which really concentrates on getting the information covered, which is needed for the baseline certification for Microsoft 365 platform. The easiest way to get to this list, there's 9 of them right now, more is coming, is HTTPS, it's missing an S. Well, both of them actually works, AKMS/M365 dev and learn. You'll find all of those assets available there. So cool stuff. And there is, of course, awesome third-party and other training providers, so don't miss out from them. But we also want to make sure that the baseline training is available for you for free from Microsoft. Now, I kind of mentioned already the Microsoft 365 Unified Sample Gallery. This is still in preview. We're still sorting out filtering mechanisms, making sure that you can, for example, target specific graph resources. So you get to see samples which are, for example, targeting on mail, and you can easily filter up on those. So that's something what we're still working. So we're still in preview, but already as it is, you can easily find really easily additional samples which community or Microsoft has created. So you can filter down on that in the future as well. So if you're not interested on community contributions, only on Microsoft samples, you can do that from here. If you are looking into what are the awesome samples, like what the Nandeep has actually contributed, there's a deep linking on his profile and his samples here as well. So it's a really cool way also for us trying to promote the people who've contributed their samples for the benefit of others. So everybody has their own welcome page. You'll also get to see all of the samples, what people have contributed from here. And this is basically an aggregation from the GitHub from that perspective. Now, what else? David, you should be talking about briefly about the Sharing is Caring initiative.
Yeah, thank you, Vesa. Well, friends, as an open source and inclusive community, all the resources you're going to learn about are available for you to use and contribute back to, but we know that sometimes there's hurdles, things like, how do I navigate GitHub? I want to present on one of those community calls, but I'm a little nervous. It's my first time. We have a number of what's called Sharing is Caring sessions. They're hands-on opportunities where we will guide you through all the different topics you see listed as sessions. Safe space opportunities to ask questions. We don't record. As I mentioned, they are hands-on and absolutely free. We also have AMAs scheduled throughout each and every month. One, in fact, today, right after this call on script samples with special guest Paul Bullock. So please come join and register for any one of them. We'd love to collaborate with you, help you get more involved in using or contributing back to the community. aka.ms/sharing is caring. Vesa, back to you.
Thank you, David. So even today, if you go to the Sharing is Caring and you sign up to the form, you will get the link to the actual call, right? So that happens almost automatically. How does that work?
Yes, exactly. They'll get it. And in fact, the link for the script samples is already open. You just go to the Sharing is Caring site and there's a Join Teams button and you'll be right there with us.
That's even easier. So you don't have to sign up to anything. You'll just go to the site, click a link, and voila, you'll be in the call, right?
Exactly.
Excellent. Thank you, David, on that one. Now, a few other additional reminders. We do have the Microsoft 365 Developer Podcast, which actually hasn't released any new episodes within the past 2 weeks, but it is a great podcast hosted by Jeremy Fake and Paul Scheffelin. So a lot of Microsoft 365 platform-specific topics covered in here. And I just, by the way, realized that now that we restarted our PMP weekly, I don't have a promotion on that one in here. So sorry, Valdek, on that one. We'll get it fixed for next week. So as that's now restarting as well. Now, few news from the Microsoft 365 platform side. So there was a few different big announcements. Well, big news last week related on the Microsoft 365 platform. So first of all, not in any specific order, but Viva Connection is heading to the public preview. And this means that you can start building native mobile experiences and extensibility for Microsoft Teams using the Microsoft Viva Connections. And it also has the desktop view, so you can actually surface your corporate communicational information directly in Microsoft Teams. And it has the new extensibility option as well. So we're partnering with quite a few partners on creating additional mobile experiences, which then can be bought and acquired from the store. So that's really cool thing as well, and it has a lot of excitement across the world as well. Now, the second kind of a new thing on the platform side, it's a news article related on beyond sharing your screen, interactive collaboration with Microsoft Teams. And this is really, really cool, where updates related on the Microsoft Teams in a meeting app experience. So you can basically collaborate directly in a meeting in the full scale view, like in that small picture, and then draw stuff together, collaborate, combine that with Fluid Framework, and there's just endless opportunities for a real interactive Microsoft Teams experience. There was also a really cool announcement related to Microsoft Graph Toolkit. So the version 2.3 is out, and there's two main controls which were released. So the Microsoft Teams authentication provider, it's the version 2 of that, and that was actually even, well, that, and then there was a file upload feature control as well. And both of these were were contributed by the community. So it's a good example of how we are extending the community together with you and building these things as an open source solution. So both of them were originally contributed by the community, and now they're part of the Microsoft Graph Toolkit, so which is really, really cool story. One additional also reminder, there's a breaking changes on the Me assignments endpoint. So if you're using that, there has been now breaking changes in that assignments endpoint. These are in the beta site, so they're not in the version 1.0 site. So in the beta site, there might be breaking changes, but of course we want to share any of those with you as well using our blocking platform. Now, one thing to mention here, I was thinking this earlier today, and there's quite a few of these blocking platforms nowadays. So let's see if we can actually consolidate some of this stuff in the future. So we do acknowledge that it's pretty hard to follow up on all of this news from multiple different locations. So we're trying to figure out how to make it easier for you if you're kind of really interested on the platform level news across the Microsoft 365, because currently it's quite difficult to actually do that. Now, before we go to the demo section, let's actually try to do a group photo. So let's see if this works today. So if I will put my video on, and there's David, I can see, ooh, this looks promising. I will flip everything to Getter mode. I will start Camtasia recording, and I will share my screen. Let's see. Hopefully we'll get this one sorted out relatively soon. Let's start with Yim. Oh,
Hi.
there we go. Awesome.
Yeah. Suddenly I drop off, and maybe it's due to the network bandwidth, but I can share my screen now.
Yep.
Thanks everyone, and especially thanks Vesa for having me in this meeting. And I'm the PM who is leading the modernization of the SharePoint Store, and I'm today very excited to share that the modern store is now GA since mid-August this year. And we want to share with you that what is new and how it works today. Also, I will provide some additional assets and the roadmap items for future investment in our team. So what's included in this feature release? There are basically two things. First is modern My Apps page and SharePoint Store experience. And another is we modernized the requesting SPFX app from the store. And also we modernized installing SPFX apps from the store experience. So why we do this? We all know that the apps provides extra business needs for customers. And for years, we are engaging with the classic experience to add an app in the SharePoint. Now we came up with the new modernized store. We aim to provide an easier and quicker way to get an app for our users. And also we want our users and both our partners benefit from the third-party apps and benefit from the SharePoint framework solutions. Please note that the opportunity is not only limited inside the SharePoint, but also remember that some apps are supported in the Teams too. So this means after admin deploy the apps from the store to the app catalog, not only SharePoint users can use it, Teams users can use it as well. So I won't go deeper to explain more around the importance of the SharePoint framework here. But what we want to do is provide a platform that can connect our partners and customers closer. So easy to build apps and easy to use apps. We are looking forward to more apps that come into the store too. And those are the different types of the components supported inside an SPFX solutions, which is a SharePoint built by SharePoint framework. Some are supported in Teams and more. You can see that there are different types here. So back to the experience of how we add an app. This is the experience that you may be familiar with. It's the old in-product flow. When you open a SharePoint site, you click on the new button and you'll find a button that named apps. Then click it and you will get into a page, your apps. On the left side of the sidebar, you will see a SharePoint Store link, and you get into the SharePoint Store and find the app you wanted to add. You can click on the app card. Then you will direct you to the app details page. You can request it. Now, here comes a new one. The same entrance. When we get into the SharePoint site, you can click on the new app button, and it will bring you to the new My Apps page, which we combine the My Apps tab and the SharePoint tab on the top of the header, which is easier to find the SharePoint Store apps. And you can get into the store, which is modernized with better performance and better UI design. And when you find the apps you want to add it, you click on the app card and you will see the app details in this page. And then I will do the live demo for this new feature. This will include two flows. So I will go first with the end user workflow. Here we are on the SharePoint. It's a normal site, and we can get into the add an app page through this entrance, or either we can click on the settings and click on add an app. Then we will get into the modernized page, which we combine the My Apps page and SharePoint Store in the same page. We can easily to find the store here. And also, if we want to find more, we can also have a emphasize or highlight for the store apps here. Here's also a new entrance to the store. So we encourage our users to find more third-party apps here. And when we click into the SharePoint Store, we will see that there are a lot of third-party apps included in the store, which is designed for the SharePoint extensibility. And we will go through all the apps, and we can see that it's lazy loaded when you scroll down the page. When I find someone I like it, I will click on the button and click on the app card, and which will show the details information for this. Here we enable the videos, which is perfectly, we can play it in this page, and in the classic one, you cannot even play this video, but now we can. So we can support more types of information for these apps, and users can know more about it. And also, we can see that there's information about the details, and also details support for this details page, and also reviews for these apps. And also, if I am an end user or say the site owner of this site, I can request it for use. If we click on the request button, it will simply pop up with a dialog, and I can type in something like I want this app. Just simply send it. It will send it successfully, and it can be approved or declined by your means. So if I here is the here is the workflow for our end users. And also another flow is for our admin, which is a little different from this. I will need to get into the here we may see that the app catalog is still in classic, but we are working on it to modernize it as well. So if I am an admin of the app catalog side, I can also find a link to the modern SharePoint store here, and I can get into the store. And when I am a admin, I can directly add it to the tenant. So you can see that here is already added. I will try another one. A lot of added apps in tenant, sorry.
You've been doing so many demos, so oh, there we go.
Yeah, there we go. And here's the SharePoint framework solution. And I can simply click on the add button and it will validate the package and tell me that reviews the app permission and data access for this package. And it will have an additional permission to be approved by global admin for this Graph API. And I also have the option to add this app to all sites, which means when I click on this checkbox, it will make it available for all sites and all users in the tenant can use it directly. If I uncheck it, it will only deploy to the app catalog side. That's very simple way to install this app to the tenant. And also a reminder, this is a new reminder that reminds you to approve the additional permission for this app, which need to go to the API access page. Currently, it is located in the SharePoint Admin Center, but for the future, we are also doing some work to make it combined with the app catalog side as well. Yeah, here's the live demo. Vesa, do you think I need to do the demo more or any questions? Or shall we?
This is good. Let's go back on the slides and talk about the next steps, because from a timing perspective, we need to stick on the 15-minute.
Yeah. So what's coming soon? That we are also making ongoing improvements in the SharePoint Store. You may see that to help our customers to get the right apps from the partners more easily, so that they can bring great values to the organization to drive more business outcomes. For example, we are recommending more apps for the same publisher. When we view one apps, we can see more apps from the same publisher that are recommended for our users. And we are also continuously modernizing and building the capability for the tenant app catalog. This is coming soon in this fiscal year. So we will hope that it will meet the needs of the IT admins and for the app use. And also some related items in the roadmap are in the plan. For example, beside the modernization of the app catalog, we also recommend these SPFX apps in many suitable entrance. And you may notice that the Viva connections are coming soon, and we will also plan to promote more Viva connections apps in our store to support the Viva connections GA. And also we want to have more entrance to our store to boost the usage of the third-party apps. For example, we wanted to we integrate with the app source experience and unblock the experience to install the app from the app source. And also more things are coming to connect it with the Microsoft Teams store as well. So here's the presentation that I prepared today. So any question or any feedbacks, we'd love to hear from you. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah, really cool stuff. And I have to say that the last bullet point there, it was discussed on the chat as well. So we have a shared leadership nowadays between the OneDrive, SharePoint, and Teams, and you can see more and more stuff getting aligned together. And of course, Microsoft Viva is a good example. It's all about Microsoft Teams, but then the engine behind of Viva is in many cases SharePoint. But we don't it's just behind the scenes, so to say. But thank you, Yi, on that one. We can follow up on the questions in the chat, given that we have a lot of people in the call, which is really, really awesome. Now, Roina.
Yeah.
There we go.
I can.
Excellent.
Yeah, because my presentation will be like super short. I just want to give a couple of updates on the Microsoft Graph JavaScript SDK, knowing that we have a bunch of our awesome contributors on this community call. My name is Reina. I am one of the PMs on the Microsoft Graph Developer Experience team. I work with the engineers who are behind the JavaScript SDK. And so I want to start off by saying a big thanks to all our contributors on the JavaScript SDK. It's been a long journey, and we're really just trying to make changes to make sure that if you're using this JavaScript SDK, like, you are having the best possible experience. So we put the V3 in GA of the JavaScript SDK in mid-August. And thank you so much for the traction already on moving up from 2.1. And we do have a couple of changes that I felt could be important for contributors here to keep in mind. This new version has breaking changes. We have the Node.js 10 LPS or higher requirement, and we also have the update to TypeScript 4 point whatever it is right now. So yeah, if you are bumping up, these are breaking changes that you're going to need to consider. And also, we've made a couple of enhancements on the large file upload tasks. We're now allowing you to upload a lot bigger files. We have added also new classes to allow you to manage the upload process even better. We also removed the timeout option from the fetch options interface, and we've given you an alternative way to cancel the request by passing a signal here. This is the upgrade guide. It can be found on our GitHub repo. We also did a blog post on the 365 developer blog that I will share on the link after my presentation that can give you much greater detail of what these enhancements mean to your workflow. And if you do need any help transitioning, or if you are using any of the tool chains that are currently exposing the JavaScript SDK, but you're on the older versions, we are trying to enable you to move to the newer versions of the JavaScript SDK, because there's a lot more cooler functionalities that you can leverage on. And we also are hoping to collaborate with like the SharePoint File Exchange team and the Teams one too, to enable you to bring your own, to use whatever version of the JavaScript SDK that you would want to in your workflows if you're using any of those tool chains. So that's something that's currently under the works and should be expected as an enhancement coming soon. If this is beneficial to you, please reach out, let us know, and we can also just like collaborate on the kind of scenarios you're using the JavaScript and those tool chains for. And yeah, we'd love your feedback on that. We also removed the Graph ES SDK, and it's being shipped now as the Graph.js SDK.js. So there's that change that's also there. And then there's also a few enhancements on some folder paths. I'm not gonna go into that. Yeah, and so the other big one is authentication. We are introducing support for the Azure Identity Token Credentials in version 3.0. And yeah, because we understand that there is a gap in the browser authentication, we've also given you an authentication package that can allow you to use the MSAL browser auth. So that's also available if based off of the current gaps of the token credentials implementation right now. We have deprecated implicit MSAL auth provider because of the flow, the implicit authorization flow not being recommended any longer. So that's a huge deprecation to keep in mind. We are still trying to restructure our authentication options on the JavaScript SDK. So please look out for changes on that. And just an open call to anybody who is using the JavaScript SDK who is having challenges moving from one of the older versions. Our data shows us that a lot of the JavaScript SDK users are currently still on 1.0. We'd love to know what your experience is and what the blockers are to transitioning so that we can make that a lot easier for you. I will share the relevant links for our repo. If you do have any feedback, our repo is here with updated documentation. And you can also always just submit an issue and we'll get back to you, and also leverage our GitHub discussions and Microsoft Q&A if you have any questions in regards to this. And yeah, I will share the relevant links too. That's pretty much it for me, Vesa. Let me see if there's any questions on the chat.
Thanks, Troina. There was chats, I think that was raised 2 times related on alignments with SharePoint framework and that version with the TypeScript and Microsoft Graph toolkit. So it might be that we need to take some of this offline, but any updates on that? Can you comment or
yes, I can comment that work on alignment with SharePoint will be commencing this second quarter of our planning process. So we'd already scoped out what needs to be done, and we're already in conversations on making that happen. So we will be seeing good progress on that front from the end of September moving forward.
Cool. I think that was the main question and concern. Well, there was a Nick Brown was asking update the app to latest SDK and noticed that it needed an Azure identity. Does that mean that you can use managed identity of providers in .NET? Oh, this is .NET, not JavaScript question. Sorry, confusing.
I don't know if I'm the right person to answer this, but I can definitely follow up with you, Nick, offline.
Cool. Good.
Thanks.
That
Great.
was all what was pending in the chat. Thank you, Roina, on this one. And let's then move to Kathy. And Kathy, you have now some extra time if needed, which is good. There's some Q&A time and all of that. So really good.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. I will apologize starting out. My demo fell through last minute last night, trying to get this through around midnight last night, my time, and the code just was not working. We had a bug that we were not able to get resolved. So do not, unfortunately, have a demo, but I do have some information to share with everyone and some updates. So we are going to talk about site scripts and kind of what is the latest with SharePoint Site Scripts and the updates and a roadmap here. So I'm Kathy Du, Senior PM on the OneDrive SharePoint team, and I will jump in on this. So in looking and talking about site scripts, we're still very early in our journey for site scripts. When you look at this, it may not seem like it's very early in the journey, considering how long site scripts and site designs have been out in the world. But site scripts are still very early in the journey. If you look at the number of site scripts and the types of actions that are available, there aren't a complete set of site scripts available yet. So that is why we still consider this to be very early in the journey. So as we look at where do we have to go and what has been happening in the last year, really in the last few months with site scripts, there's a few notable changes. The biggest of these is that site designs, which is the way that you pull together site scripts into a package to make changes, are now called site templates. So site templates is the new way that we are referring to this packaging of the site scripts together. So you'll start to see that change be the biggest piece of that puzzle. So referring them to them throughout the UI as site templates everywhere. So with this change from site designs to site templates, we do acknowledge that there were some regressions introduced with this change. These are regressions around some pieces being able to see history, being able to watch the actions get applied if you're applying the custom site templates, seeing and being able to apply these from the admin center through a drop down at site creation. The team is actively working on ways to bring these back into these experiences. We did not want to hold up shipping site templates to have all of those available. So you will see active changes coming in to replace those experiences that were regressed over the coming months. The one thing that did not change is that site scripts did remain constant. Those remain the backend components that make up the site templates. So those will always be something that we continue to evolve and add in. So when we look at this, one of the other things that we have done is we have now allowed site templates to be run on Teams channel sites. So this means previously these were blocked and you weren't able to run these on Teams channel sites. So your private channel sites, you weren't allowed to run site designs on in the past. So we've enabled that now. Now there is an exception, a caveat here for these. With these, there are certain site scripts that are restricted for channel sites. So I've listed out what those are. Basically, these actions, if they are included in your site template, will simply fail. Their site template will not fail, but these will not run. The reason for these is these particular actions are actually things that you cannot perform within the SharePoint site itself due to the special connection for SharePoint and Teams for this particular site type of the channel site. So this is being able to manage the permissions by adding users to the different SharePoint groups, being able to apply a site theme, being able to join a hub site, being able to set the external sharing capability, and being able to set regional settings. So with these actions can be contained in your site template. They simply will not run on these. So you can have one site template, apply it to these site types, but it just will not run. So you don't have to make up multiple ones just to have them something special to run on these channel sites. So we wanted to make sure that we found a great way for these to kind of fail gracefully and not make these kind of a change, but also to stick to the constructs that are in place and not provide a way for people to continue to try to work around the constraints that have been put in for that particular team's restraint that we have. So really exciting to be able to start allowing these. We are working on updating documentation currently. These are new changes that I believe just got checked in and are rolled out now. I just heard that they are fully rolled out starting last week for these restrictions. So we will start updating this. So yes, this is for channel sites. So channel sites are the private channels today, and then shared channels as well in the future, which will be the next type of site that's channel backed for, or channels that are site collection backed. The standard channels are folders in a group connected team site, so those do not have these same restrictions. Okay, now I'm going to talk about roadmap, and then I'm going to ask for your help. Roadmap is what everyone is interested in when it comes to site scripts and site templates and where are we going. So with site scripts, the roadmap items, we are working on adding new components here. For site scripts actions, coming very soon is the content type hub sync script action. So this will allow you to reference and add a content type from your hub. And so that will be a great advancement to be able to use that from that hub. And so that has been reviewed. So that should be coming very soon. And you'll see some documentation and we'll have some updates come out there. And then for site templates, these have G8. So we are very excited that everyone has the availability of these first party SharePoint site templates. And we're excited to see people starting to use these. And then again, being able to apply via PowerShell was another option that we pulled together and allowed for channel sites as well. That was something that was explicitly blocked before as well. So you can apply those via the UI and you can apply via PowerShell now as well. When it comes to kind of what's coming next, future pieces, so we are working on a set of components here that will allow you to connect templates across Teams and SharePoint. So being able to have a SharePoint site template that's connected to a Teams template so that you can build true scenario-based solutions across products. And so that will be something that'll be coming soon as well. And then one of our biggest requests, admin controls for SharePoint first-party site templates and for site templates. So you'll start to see admin controls starting to come in. Views template history is another big one that's going to be coming soon. And then we'll be shipping some additional SharePoint Microsoft templates as well. So some great updates that'll be coming soon. And then kind of top of mind. Now, this is one of these pieces of where I am still relatively new into the site script space. And so these are some of the pieces that have come over to me of what were being thought of before, but also things that I know that other people have asked for. So in site templates, they're working on site template creation. So Nicole Woon, who is the PM who's working a lot on site templates, she actually owns a lot of these experiences for site templates themselves. She's working on site template creation experiences. So great ways to move forward and advance that. And then Power Platform integration. So Power Automate, flows, Power Apps, how we would integrate with those. Now, when it comes into site scripts in particular, we know that we've recently released, I say recently, like January was last week, new site header types, and we have footers and different options that you might not be able to set today via site scripts. So we are working on updates to site script actions to be able to properly set all of the different branding controls. So to add those support components for all of those different branding options. And then looking at pages and web parts. So how will we be able to support pages and web parts? And then stream, how would you be able to support video through these site script actions as well? And then another big one that has started to get explored a bit outside of the site script, but in a way part of site scripts, because the site script actions would be the same things that are utilized for this, is document library templates. How would we comprise using site scripts to create document library templates, and what would that mean, and how would you apply those? So that's kind of some top of mind ideas and areas when we start talking about the site script world. And it's really hard to separate site scripts from the template world, because site scripts do back templates in many ways. They are that platform component of our templates, whether that be a library template or a site template. So they are that great building block capability that we utilize. So trying to complete that building block capability is a long pole that we are trying to get to. But one of the things, this is where I need your help. So as I said, I'm a bit new into coming in and starting to focus on site scripts. I know that there have been a lot of issues and items raised with site scripts over the years. I acknowledge this, and I know that there are a lot of issues that have been shared in the GitHub repository. We are actively working through and triaging that GitHub repository. We will be providing updates and working through those items. So please know, if you have put stuff in there, we will be getting you answers. But I also know that there are other places that people have put in requests, features that they would like to see, scripts that they would like to see that I may not have seen or heard. So I would like you to, if you can, if you have things that are pressing on you that you're looking for, share issues that you're having in that GitHub repository. If you're still having active issues there, we will go through and continue to triage and monitor that GitHub repository and start getting answers there. But also, I've put together just a simple survey form. If you have a feature request, something that you want to see built, something that needs to be supported, something that you would love to see get added to our roadmap, please add it into that AKA MS site script requests form and share that feedback with me. I would love to start collecting that. Note that it is a long list of items that I'm getting. And thank you, Mark, for helping to collaborate and pull some of this feedback for me together as I jump into this space. I want to acknowledge that there has been a lot of this and it has been a bit of a void. We are working on this and trying to put together a roadmap. And that's where I need your help, is we need to know what people are needing from this space. So we are definitely working through this, and I'm kind of asking for your help a bit. So I would love to get some help here, but yes, GitHub is definitely the place to go to put where you're having issues when it comes to site scripts and site design, site templates. And we will be actively triaging that moving forward. So please note that we acknowledge that it has not been triaged and that we are actively monitoring that now. And then again, for the requests, until we have the announced replacement for user voice, I have gone and looked there previously, but for a tentative time until we have the replacement there, this forum is kind of that place to have that. And I did acknowledge in there, if you have put some of these requests in places like tech community or any of those other places, you can just send me a link to it so that I know where you've been posting these. So we are looking to evolve this and make sure that we are building a roadmap that helps you as well as helps, the community. So that's kind of what I had today. And hopefully I didn't have a demo, but hopefully this was good.
This is really good. So I think everybody just wanted to know where we are and what's the latest. And sure, demos are always cool, but the key is the open and honest communications and roadmap and understanding the next steps for sure. Now, Kathy, I will put you on a spot and ask 3 questions, and then we can close a few minutes early. So can you clarify a bit site template, site design, site script, terminology confusing? Can you briefly kind of try to explain what's the difference?
Yeah, so site scripts are the backing components. So they are essentially the platform components that make up the site templates. So we renamed site designs to site templates. So that is kind of the big confusing part, is site designs is now site templates. So site scripts are the components that you utilize to build the templates.
Cool. Now, if I'm an old school SharePoint person, there used to be save site as a template. Is that related on this? Are we planning to do something like that in the future? Any comments on that?
Yeah, so if you see here in my top of mind section here, one of the things that you may notice is a site template creation experiences. So that is definitely a top of mind area for us. I know Nicole is actively thinking about how people will create site templates.
Yeah, and I think that just a side note from my side, I think it's actually really good that there's a separate ownership on the site script and the site template, so the UX layer. So this means that, just to clarify for everybody in this call, so Kathy is kind of thinking through the platform level. What does it mean when somebody then selects from the UX a specific template to be applied, and what are the actions, what do we support, and how do we support them? And then Nicole is then really focusing on the polished UX experience. So how do we make this look for end users and administrator as efficiently as possible? So 2 different sides, a bit confusing terminology, and the historical reasons. I still remember, actually, and maybe I shouldn't be saying this out loud, but whenever we decided to do site design, we didn't want to use site template because we thought that it would be confusing for those who think site templates are the same old site templates which we had 20 years ago. So this historical, let's say, legacy in SharePoint is giving us a lot of headache, and that's why we're always trying to avoid this conflict. So
yeah, and it was difficult because deciding to move it back to calling it site templates from changing it from site designs, is a difficult change. Like Mark says, the code still says site designs. But at the same time, it aligns us across M365, where everyone else are calling these templates. Teams calls them templates. So it allows us to align across the broader M365. And so that's another reason why we separated out scripts from the UX as well, is because from the site script component of it as well, it allows site scripts from that platform perspective for me to focus and looking at how these can work across different products as well. So utilizing across the platform. So how we can connect our SharePoint site scripts and our templates to Teams and to other products across M365.
Absolutely, absolutely, and then obviously changing names is always there's multiple sides of changing a name. It's not necessarily always a bad thing. There's downsides of changing a name. The reason why it's not necessarily always a bad thing is that when you change the name, then when you go to the Google or Bing, you can actually find all of the new stuff when you use the new term. So there are advantages and disadvantages in both. But anyway, so this is really, really hard. So from a naming perspective, but I guess anyway, so that's it for this section. Thank you, Kathy. And we'll follow up on if there's any other questions which we missed. A lot of good comments on the chat as well. I will share my screen. So jump on the slides and we'll get a few minutes back at least today. So thank you, Yi, really awesome demo. Thank you, Roina and Kathy. Awesome to see different sections evolving in the platform side as well. Now, this weekly community call, if you're looking into downloading the recurrent invite, it's https AKMS M365-dev call. And then we have a few different monthly calls still available. There is a ongoing discussion that should we actually merge, for example, Adaptive Card and Office Add-ins calls to this weekly call. So we kind of have a mixture of topics in every single week. Again, discussion ongoing. It depends on those organizations and their objectives as well. So that's still waiting for alignment. And then on Thursdays, we have either the community call or the M365 community call or SharePoint Framework community call, and that's happening on Thursdays, and that's always targeting more kind of a community demos, so rather than product demos, and that's kind of how we are thinking this from a demo and call perspective. If you're looking into having any of the other assets or call details, https AKMS M365 PNP. Recording of this call will be available within 24 hours in the Microsoft 365 community YouTube channel, and also there will be notes and articles and links to all of the links which were mentioned in the chat. Thank you, David, for that, in a blog post article. Follow us in M365, Microsoft 365 Dev or M365 PMP. That's the community Twitter tag as well. And the next Microsoft 365 platform call is on September 21st. We already have actually topics lined up on that. So that's going to be a really exciting call as well a week from now. But that's it for now. Thank you one more time for the presenters. Thank you. Thank you, all of the attendees. Thank you for a really lovely and active discussion once again on a chat. That's a worth of gold for us, understanding what's relevant for you as well. But that's it for now. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Cheers. Bye-bye.